Hey everybody, this is Lynn from A Bit of Birdsong. I have another supply book that is in the shop right now. This one is so sweet. This is a Victorian supply book. I don't know what happened to this. It's fine. I want everything to be perfect. Anyway, so I've worked all day, but I did want to list this tonight. I love this one. I love things that are Victorian. I've always been drawn to that. I like just all of the different elements, the busyness, just all of it. So this has a lot of fabric. In fact, I had to make myself stop because if I put another thing in here, it's not going to fit in the box. You can see there's a teacup on the front. How could you have something Victorian and not have a teacup? There are a couple of charms here. They're both hearts and they're both put on with safety pins. This is a really cool safety pin. It's large and it doesn't have that little circle on this end. So you could put beads, Anyway, you can put things on that and they will wrap around. It would have to be the right size though. I don't want to mislead anybody, but those safety pins are fun. Now I got to make sure that we're in frame. This thing is so huge. There are a lot of papers in this as well. So you can see the fabrics, they're designer fabrics. A lot of these are upholstery fabrics. There are quite a few calendar pages and book pages in this one. I took the rest of the pages out of my David Austin Roses book, and well, I don't even know if you can see. Let me make sure you're seeing both sides of these pictures or pages. Really, really pretty book pages. And they are somewhat glossy, but I have loved using these. So pretty. And I happen to have a tab that says Victorian, so that worked out pretty good. And on this page there is a piece of embroidered table scarf and just some pretty paper. There is a library card that says Women's Suffrage, and we have an envelope that's made from a sheet that looks like music. Here are some die cuts. These are printed in England and really pretty. Sometimes I come across these that you just trim around the edges where they're attached, and all of that is just paper clipped to this fabric. So on to the next page. Now, so that's a black and white. That was from a book, both of those images. These images are from the book I have that's about women in the workforce, and this was pretty much centering around Victorian England. So I had stamped some of the names, like that says Metalwork 1900, and I just love this image. Look at her hair, how pretty it is. So these are in here. I put the names on some of these ladies. And that is under a piece of fabric there. There are some pretty greeting cards in here. Just love all the flowers. More beautiful fabric. That's from Magnolia. And let's see. It's rayon and polyester. And under here we have some more pretty paper. Here is one of those little collage sheets from Art Chick Studio. That's half of a page there, a lot of pretty images. And this is from an old scrapbook from around 1900. And then there's a book page with some men sitting there looking all important. And that is a page from Stampington, one of the magazines. I just like that. The red, it looks kind of Victorian to me. And that is just sitting in the fabric that's been folded to make a pocket. This is a pretty piece of fabric. Now, you might have some trouble with unraveling, and you can just, work with this how you want to. I put the whole piece in there. There's a charm again with one of the floral beads. There are freshwater pearls on the top and the bottom. And then a beautiful piece of upholstery fabric. Okay, let me turn this whole thing. And a lot more. So that piece of fabric is pretty as well. Does it say what that is? Woven in Turkey. It is all polyester, but that's really sheer. Just really pretty. It says hospitality, so I'm guessing they provide linens and things for maybe hotels or something. I just don't know. But here are a lot more calendar pages. These are really pretty from the Victoriana calendar, and there was another calendar as well. I don't remember the name of that one. And these are from 1998. Look at that, how beautiful. I had a baby that year. So those are in there, sitting right under this fabric. And there's another gorgeous piece of fabric. That is linen and rayon. Beautiful piece of upholstery fabric. There's a safety pin, and look at this tiny, tiny little charm. It's a little tiny heart bead, and I made a charm with that the other night. It's so sweet. I like to make those while I'm sitting on the couch with Jason at night. And then that's just a pretty folder. I think that might be the last one of those that I have, but I love that botanical look, all the flowers. There's another piece of the magnolia fabric, and here's another piece of fabric. That's 100% cotton. And then we have some really heavy cotton again, like a heavy muslin. And these are pages from a book of poetry, a golden book of poetry. So this is the story of the Pied Piper. And then there are some pages from the front of the book, just like the inside cover. And then I love this tapestry looking fabric. It's just so pretty. Very Victorian. I thought this card was really pretty. It's got the little windows on the front, and you can see the lace curtains behind. I won't really pull on those, but it just looks really Victorian. And there's a paper clip holding these together. More pages from the book of David Austin Roses. Really, really pretty images there. So quite a few of those. What is that? Oh, okay. I think I had it turned upside down. A couple more images from a collage sheet and a really pretty piece of scrapbook paper. And then this came off of a, I think that came off of a container. It was wrapped around maybe a box of lotion or something like that, but that's really pretty. That's paper. And so now we're going to the second, I guess, getting closer to the end of the book. We've passed the center of the book. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's a Christmas card, but I love these images. Look at these cards. This one is just a thank you card. And this one is blank. I don't have all the envelopes to these. Both of these are Christmas cards with beautiful Victorian images. There is another one of the charms with the flower bead and the pearls. And then I love this piece of fabric. Let's take that off. That's a magnolia fabric, and it is rayon and polyester. That's just on with a paper clip. And then we have in here this pretty little image and another beautiful card. That's from 1990. I think Victorian things just had a resurgence in late 1980s and 1990s. That's when Victoria magazine kind of hit the newsstands and was so popular. You could buy so many things that were Victorian. And I wonder if anybody remembers the Outback Red clothes that the Limited had. That was in the 80s. That was around the late 80s. Really, really pretty things. Kind of prairie-like, they called it, but definitely had an old-fashioned feel to it. So in this pocket, let's see, we've got some dictionary pages on this side. Here are some more book pages from that book about women in the workforce. It's really, really interesting, even just to read about that and what women were expected to do. Like, here's the design room of the Royal School of Art Needlework around 1890. And look at all the ladies in here. Royal School of Art and Needlework. Students and workers in the studios of the custom-built premises of the school erected on the corner of Exhibition Road and Imperial Institute Road in 1903. The photograph dates from the 1920s. Let's see, embroidery and needlework. Really pretty pages. I have enjoyed working with pages from this book. Collage and things like that. So let's put this back like this. And that sits right in there. And there are another couple of pieces of pretty scrapbook paper in there. And then here's that little card, the boudoir biscuits. That right there. And then in this pocket, we have a gorgeous piece of wallpaper and a couple more black and white book pages. I love that. That reminds me of Kate Greenaway. That might be, actually. And then a little charm of the Eiffel Tower. And we have just some old book pages in here. Ballads and tales. Look at the knight on the horse with the armor. And just some images from some paper that I had probably printed and cut and then didn't use all of it. Oh, so this is not Victorian at all, but how could I resist putting in this little cigarette pack? This Eve cigarette pack, when women broke out and decided they were going to smoke and be equal with men, and I'm kind of saying that tongue-in-cheek. I mean, women should have every right as men do. But it's funny that it was presented in the form of cigarettes, which are definitely not good for you. Here's another piece of fabric that, well, you saw that on the other side, but just folded like a pocket, and I put a safety pin at the top. These are some old postcards. 1907. Really, really pretty. So look at these images. Aren't they beautiful? And then that one, the rose on that is so pretty. And then I love this. I love this card with the roses. It's a poem from St. Paul's Chapel. I'm not sure. I just like the roses on that. And then there's wallpaper in here. I won't pull it all out, but you can see that beautiful design in there. That's the arts and crafts design movement, and really pretty. So put that under there, and then when we flip the page, we have some more collage images on this side. A beautiful piece of wallpaper. That's called Claire's Willow, Anglo-Japanese room set. All of this came out of a book. This, and then on the previous page, the arts and crafts samples. That came from a notebook full of samples, and that is actually where the Victorian tab came from. So in this very last pocket, there is some pretty scrapbook paper and another piece of scrapbook paper, really pretty envelope that has the Eiffel Tower on it. A pretty, I don't think that's a whole card, that's just the front of a greeting card. And then some more scrapbook paper, really, really beautiful. And then there is another sheet of collage images. So that's pretty much it. There's another charm here on a white safety pin, and this book is massive. This supply book is huge. And it is tied together with some vintage cotton lace. You can see this trim here. So that goes all the way through and ties at the top. This is in the shop now. Thank you so much for watching. This is a tiny bit more than the other ones. The other ones I've listed were $35, including shipping. This one has so much in it, it is going to be $40, and that includes the shipping. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.